let's talk about your love for film. How did you get started?
Well, I actually started writing when I was in prison, you know what I mean? But I used to write as a book. I didn't know the formula on how to write in screenplay format. So once I came home, Habits on Mobb Deep plugged me into Loud Records because that was the label he was on at that time. And John Rifkin actually brought me the file Final Draft. That's Steve Rifkin's brother. That was the owner of Loud Records. He brought me the draft, and it was just on from there. Once you climb into something new and you love it, you just continue on your journey. And like they say, whatever you practice, you become great at. So I'm still on that journey of greatness.
Awesome. So do you remember the first film that you kind of fell in love with that kind of inspired you to want to go into the route of writing and then being a producer, even an actor?
Yeah, well, actually the first film that I seen that made me really gravitate towards black filmmakers was a dude named Matty Rich. Mm-hmm. He did a film a long time ago called Straight Outta Brooklyn. So I was inquisitive and excited about that. Like, damn, like, wow, that's kind of deep. But what actually motivated me was start writing. I love Spike Lee, but he did this movie Clockers, and I just didn't love the way the industry, the New York street life dudes was being portrayed. Right. You know what I mean? So I was like, I want to get in and write and to show dudes what New York underworld really looked like. You know what I mean? So when I was doing my time, I used to write it as a book, and I would just continue on. But I would pass a few pages around the facility and let them read it. And because you bias as a writer, and I used to hear them talking when we used to be outside or by the kitchen cooking. I used to hear them talking. Y'all like this person, y'all like that person. So I was like, wow, I got to grab a gift for being able to tell a story, and that's what kind of really motivated me and actually sparked that seed.
Okay, cool. So how would you say your use of your creative skills that you choose to write and tell these stories in the Black community, that a lot of people who they try to tell stories of the Blacks, they do it incorrectly. So how do you use your creative skills to show impactful things happening in the Black community?
Well, for one, experience, you know what I mean? Experience is going to always be the best voice on being creative, you know what I mean? And all you're doing, when you experience, it's not really but so much creative. It's just walking that walk and talking that talk that people can relate to and I can identify with, you know what I mean? That's what I always wanted to do. I've always hated people write the stories about us that for one, either they don't look like us or they don't understand us, you know what I mean? And they swear they're 100% correct, but they're really 100% incorrect, you know what I'm saying? So that's what made me really want to dive into that, to write more relatable stories and, put more heartfelt things, because when Hollywood controls your film, it kind of controls the narrative, you know what I mean? So, but when you finance your projects, it's not but so much of a narrative they can control. You can actually control your own destiny, but you still have to be careful, because as Black writers, we're looked at as glorified writers, but other writers, they're looked at as entertainment writers. Mm-hmm. So I got to be careful on how I change the narrative, and be careful on how the people that come behind me and when they start to move forward, you know what I'm saying? So that's really what got me into pushing that way.
Right. So I remember, you have all your films. I mean, the first one you did was Let Boys Be Boys, so starting like the rap icon group Onyx. Like, if you don't know them, so you too young. You don't know them, you're too young. And then you produced the movie The Businessman, which is quite interesting. When you learn about the plot of the movie, how this man is going crazy, going berserk in the town. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was actually my first time really getting on set. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, let me just see how this thing feels and get into the grit of it. You know what I mean? But Southside was one of my really key baby projects, because it's a period piece based in 1988, the golden era. You know what I mean? Out of Queens. And I wanted to take the people back to that era, because that was just like so much of an influential era. So much came from out of the 80s, from the fashion and the money. And so even the morale was different. You know what I mean? Today's integrity is just different. You know what I mean? It's nothing like how the 80s was. You know what I mean? And I doubt if it'll ever go back to it. So I wanted to at least bring a project to the forefront where this youth can see day by day on how we came about, you know what I mean, and how the hustle like was. But even then, there was still an etiquette behind the hustle. It wasn't just we just getting money. There was a way how you treated the people. There was rules to the game on not to serve, don't serve no material to a pregnant woman. So protect your community. There was rules. Today, it's just don't protect the women, sell drugs whoever you want, get the money, get to the bag the best way you know how, and that's where we fall victim to.
Yeah, definitely. Times has definitely changed, and a lot of things it will never go back to the past. Maybe just be like an ongoing cycle, probably.
For sure.
But I will say, let's talk about your new project that you do have, that you recently just dropped, which is the Equal Standard that you have with Ice-T, like legendary Ice-T, like everybody knows him. How did you two, get in connection with each other to collaborate on this project?
Well, I met Ice-T through my man He knew a girl that was doing hair on Law and Order set. So I had shot a teaser before with Method Man, and she happened to show him the teaser. He was like, I want to meet the dudes that's behind that. And I met him on Law and Order, and we built a friendship. And through the course of us building a friendship, we tried to shop the deal, but a lot of the companies was like, yo, you new to the game, you know what I mean? And they wanted to strip me of my credits. They didn't want to let me keep my credentials just because I was new to the game. So I took Equal Stand, I took Southside back, and then I developed Equal Standard. And then I said, listen, I got a new movie I wrote called Equal Stand. He was like, damn, he just wrote that overnight. So he was like, yo, what you trying to do? I said, I'm ready. I'm not waiting for no one on this one right here. I'm ready to just do this on my own. All I need is to use your name. I don't need no money from you. Just use your name, and I'll take it from there. Right. And then turn around and say, yo, I need you to act in it also. You know what I'm saying? So he, you know what I mean? But we built a genuine brotherly friendship. You know what I mean? He became my mentor. It's not like just like Tretch and Jay from Belly and a few others. You know what I mean? But he became my mentor. And he told me one thing. This is what really sparked me, and I kind of press this on every interview, because he told me one day, he said, look, Ty, I love you, but I don't wake up to your dream. I wake up to my dream. And when you hear that, it cuts you. You know what I mean? Because it's like, damn, like you in power. How could you say that to me like that? You know what I mean? But what it did, it motivated me. You know what I'm saying? And for some people, like they said, pressure could either bust a pipe or create a diamond. It created a diamond in me. It motivated me. It made me say, let me get into these trenches and really show them I can do this. You know what I mean? And once he saw Equal Stand, he was like, God damn, baby, like you, like wow. You know what I mean? So I'm honored. I'm grateful for the star-studded cast, man. You know what I mean? It was on a beautiful, beautiful thing, man. A lot of people came out to support. My man Rob Simmons, he's one of the producers on the show, like Tretch, you know what I mean? Everyone lent a hand, because this is my first film. I never studied film, never did film before, and then to do a film so timely, and then to hit on the pulse of what we're going through today is a whole new thing within itself.
Right. So how would you say when you speak of everything that's going on today, like, the Black Lives Matter movement, and how we've constantly, every year, we're going through the same hashtag justice for this person, hashtag justice for this person, going on so many protests, so many different riots that's been going on just this year and even the previous year, and so on and so forth. Do you feel like this movie here was the perfect timing to, release it?
Yeah, well, not really just the perfect timing, because the way it dropped, I would have never been able to predict the way it landed on the post. Like the pandemic hit, that led to people to focus on what's really going on in the world, and movie theaters shut down. So streaming became the number one focus. You know what I mean? So it gave me a window. It let me show the masses of these different big companies that it's the people that make the machine, not the machine. You know what I mean? So, but I do believe Equal Standard will definitely create a change, because any project or anything that you can do that can develop a conversation gives you it basically opens up a gateway of change. Because if you can't get a conversation or someone to communicate, then that means you haven't got them to want to speak. They still haven't been able to break that chain. And Equal Standard is a movie that's built in a balance because in order to touch on topics of race, religion, or politics, you have to also be receptive and deal with it delicately, because something that's taught is something, it can be eradicated through teaching. You know what I mean?